Hello, my followers. As you know, I have a little Dachshound and he is 14 and a half years old, and I show him later on during this video. Um, he is actually dying and it's really, really tough for me. He is 14 and a half years old, so he has had a good life. He is an old age, but it's still so tough, so hard, and I've cried so much over it. And I'm just being honest of the pain that I'm feeling, and I know many of you are feeling as well by losing a beloved one, a beloved animal. And I just want you to know that there is a scripture out here telling that pets are actually going to God. And that's in 1 Corinthians chapter 15. If you want to read that, they're going to God and they're not being condemned or going into nothingness. You just have to make sure that you're going to heaven so you can be also, see your pets again. But so we are all gonna die, and it's really coming out really strongly once you experience, oh man, my pet is dying and death is coming so close. His kidneys are failing. It's only 10% of his kidneys are still working, so there is nothing that we can do about it or for him anymore other than give him a good last days or weeks. If he suffers too much, I will have to actually put him down. But this is the video in memory of him, and maybe more for me than for you guys, because I really want to remember how it was. And it's so crazy because we didn't want a Dachshund. We're actually looking at big dogs. I mean, Great Dane, German Shepherd. And we first went to the pound, and I had horrible experiences at the pound that I actually went to. One dog had a heart attack while we gave him a walk right after, and it was just really not a good place. So we kept on looking and we couldn't really find the animal that we were looking for, but this Dachshund came over and over again up like on the picture, and we just so fell in love with him. We went and looked at him, and the owner said, and they were like hobby breeders that just wanted her little Dachshund to have one litter in her life, just so she could have a litter and be a mom and have that experience. So that was really sweet. He came from a really, really caring family. I mean, he was born in a living room and he grew up in the living room. They took so good care of him. But anyway, he belonged actually he belonged to someone else. Someone else had already picked him. And after a few days, they brought him back and said he's such a difficult dog that they can't handle him. So they brought him back. And I have to tell you, it's the easiest dog to have around ever. I mean, he's the easiest dog that I've ever experienced to be training or having around. He's such a pleasant dog, such an sensitive dog that, I never have to get loud or anything. He just is impressed immediately. I don't even have to get loud or harsh. And he won't do it again. And so we picked him, and he's just such a delight. And my son was just being born, so my Dachshund and him, they're the same age. And my wish was always for them to grow up together and really grow, have a good relationship, grow with each other. And this is so beautiful because it happened like in the last, especially 5 years. he became his owner actually, and they became so close. I mean, whenever I walk by, they're just laying in his bed, and he always in his arms, or he's laying here or on top of him, wherever. They're always together, so it's like his best friend. So it's breaking his heart to actually losing this little dachshund. It's honestly, it's really sad. um but I want to tell you, how is life with a dachshund? He's has such a personality. He is a huge dog in a small body. I mean, honestly, he should have, from his personality, he should have been a Great Dane. Honestly, he's such a, he knows what he wants and he will go for it. But he's so easy to train, so it was never a problem. I never had a problem of him running away or anything. He was always there at my side. He loved to play ball. I mean, he was crazy ball player, and he's such an actor, and he can manipulate people really easily. So during the summer, when he didn't want to walk, he would just drop on the grass, and that was it. And my sons would be like, "Oh, isn't he sweet?" And he knew it. Honestly, he just used that so much to get his way. And they didn't see that. Oftentimes I saw it, and I would be like, "No, let's go. Come on, we're going on a walk." And then he would get up and go. Um, but he had like so many little quirks. Like, for example, he wanted something. For example, he wanted to sniff at the dog that was just walking behind us, right? But I wanted to walk on. So he pretended, honestly, he pretended. It's not that it's a coincidence. Seriously, I'm telling you. He is sniffing there because like extensively, taking such a long time until the dog that was walking behind us is right there. And then he just had to turn around and be like, "See, he's right there. So now I can sniff at him." And stories like, he had it going for him. He knew he was cute. So for example, he would, the balcony is always one of the most fun and interesting places for our dogs to lay when the sun is shining. And there's always favorite spots. I always put two beds on the balcony, so it's not like one couldn't lay there. But if my boxer dog had the better space, then he would think of something. For example, he would come in and make himself really cute. And everybody would be like, "Oh." And that caused my boxer dog to come and see what is going on. He's so smart. And the second she would come in and see what's going on, he would sprint out there and lay in her spot, the spot that he wanted. And I'm telling you, I mean, it's just, he just had the biggest personality. If he, for example, had a treat, he would right walk in front of my boxer and show her that he has a treat before he ate it. He made such a show. I mean, sometimes he's so funny. He's is smart in his own way. He just knows what he wants, and he knows how to like play himself, be really cute, and get his way. As I say, especially with my children. My children are so crazy about him. So I mean, I walk into the room and there's scenes where my son was eating a sandwich and biting on one side, and the dachshund was biting into the other side of that sandwich. See, he would never do that with me, but he knew he could do this with my children. And I would never trust, like my boxer, I could put a whole chicken on a plate. Not that I'm eating meat, but just in general, I could put a plate of a treat. If it would be my plate, I could place it on the floor and leave the room. I have tried this before. She will not touch it. until I tell her she can. My Dachshund, I wouldn't trust. I wouldn't absolutely not trust. But we had stories of my son eating this kind of lunch meat and leaving his plate on the couch and going away. And my Dachshund, he didn't eat everything away from my son because they were always sharing. He came back and you could see that it was licked across the entire sandwiches. I mean, he just took little bites and licked everything off, but leaving some for my son because he was always sharing. So this is the personality of a little Dachshund. I mean, he is such a personality. He has such a great heart as well. And one thing that he really wants is respect. I mean, that's like major important. Like one of my youngest child, he, for some reason, he would never tease my boxer. He has too much respect for her. But the Dachshund, he sometimes teased. And yes, he got in trouble for that. I mean, whenever I heard that he teased the Dachshund, he got in trouble. But my Dachshund didn't like that. That's why he was never as close as my middle child. They were so bonded because they had such similar or matching personalities that they just fed each other with energy. I mean, they were just really the best couple ever out there. And so living with a Dachshund is a fun experience. He was very active. I could like go trekking with him for 4 or 5 hours, no problem. But he could also take just a half an hour walk and be fine. He could play a ball for an hour. He was like ball crazy for the longest time. And he got along with all dogs. Hardly ever a dog that he didn't like. And his personality was so sweet. When two dogs were about to fight, and sometimes it like made my heart stop almost because they were big dogs, he would go between them, lick their faces, and like take out the tension between two other dogs. So he's like a peacemaker. And he also was my big helper. My boxer was always rambunctious kind of puppy that I have to be really stern with. And if I would give a command and she wouldn't listen, my Dachshund would go and actually tell my boxer to listen. He would like really go and like put her in her place. Like he was my greatest assistant. It's so crazy. And he was my first dog that I ever got. So he has always a special place in my heart. And living with a Dachshund is a joy. His love language is food, though. Playing ball when he was younger, but food always took the first place. Oh man. For food, he would do anything. And one thing that I appreciate about my boxer so much is she's so loyal. She would never leave me for any treat or anything. The Dachshund, he his love language is food, so he would leave me standing there if somebody else would have a treat. That was like his priority. Everybody has their priorities. My Dachshund's priority is food, was always food. And it's sad for him now to see him not being as happy and jumpy. And he loved the moist dew on the grass, and he would like roll himself on the wet grass and jump through and hop through the grass. And he grew up in downtown Berlin, actually, when he was a puppy. I took him along everywhere. And, if I would go on an escalator, he would know that I wanted to pick him up. He would always help me and already jump into my arm. So he's always so willing, so sweet. He, he could do anything. I mean, seriously, I did agility with him. Um, Not, of course, like with my boxer, but, you know, a little agility. And one competition, for example, my boxer was in heat, so I took him as a replacement. Otherwise, I couldn't have gone and went with him. And I mean, he had the most fun. You could do anything with him. And if anybody thinks dachshunds are not good with children, oh, they are. They are. As long as the children show respect. And I show you my dachshund now. So this is my dachshund, and as I say, he only has a few days or weeks left. He's such a sweetheart. The best dog ever, ever, ever. And it's really like breaking my heart to lose him as a friend, but I know I'm going to see him in heaven again. And I'm so thankful that God gave me him as a gift. As you can see, he's such a sweetheart and such a big one too. I mean, he was like 13 kilograms. That's a huge dachshund, and he was never fat. He's just so, 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 so sweet. So my dachshund is still happy. He's still eating and he's still going for walks. And as long as he does that, he can stay with us. He's not in too much pain. He's just in discomfort. You can see him shake. He's doing that all the time. I think it's because of his disease, but once it gets really bad, we will have to put him down and put him to sleep before it gets really crucial and he's suffering. And that's all I wanted to say, and I wanted to share this moment forever because he's not going to be there much longer, but I just wanted to have a video of him to myself, and maybe it interested you, maybe it didn't. It doesn't matter to me. It's for me, for memory. I love you, Dachshund.